Good afternoon, everybody. It's 1:37 now. I call to order the meeting of the Orange County Sewer District Number 1. Please note the meeting is being transmitted live via video stream. Please silence your cell phones, tablets, and other electronic devices, and keep in mind that the microphones are very sensitive. Please now join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kelly, can you do the roll call?
Emo? Benelli?
Present.
Cheney?
Here.
Ellers?
Here.
Hotel? Two.
Here.
Full present.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. And first up, we have Joe Mahoney, Senior Assistant County Attorney, Eric Denenga, Commissioner, Department of Public Works, Rich Golden, the County Attorney, and Mary Beth Bianconi, Partner, Delaware Engineering.
Bob Gray.
Bob Gray.
I can leave. I'm good.
Deputy Commissioner, EF&S. And who knows what we're waiting for? I don't miss her. I'm a bit late here.
You want?
Well, you usually sit there, you usually sit here.
That's good. Yeah, it's like the high school area, right? You sit in the same seats every time.
All right, everybody, this first item up is 1A. We've been talking about a lot, and so we probably don't have to go into too much detail, but Mary Beth, if you just give us the final facility plan update where we are.
Yes, so we have a separate one for, okay, sampling process. So that's the next one. Okay, so for final facility plan, we have comments that we received from the county. We are working on those. We actually have an internal meeting on that tomorrow. On those, and we'd like to maybe reach out to Anthony, try to set up a meeting the week after Thanksgiving so we can kind of scrub through some of those. So that's where we are with that. We don't have the EIS on here, but it kind of goes with the facility plan. That's on the same track because a lot of that same information goes in the EIS.
Okay.
So it's on a parallel track.
Okay, and then we'll hopefully get those.
Yeah, the objective is to get that in December or the beginning of the year, yeah, but hopefully in December. We're really aiming for December is really
All
the
right.
goal.
Okay, and then update on the sampling process.
My prop. The doorstop. So we've talked so much about the sampling process. This is the result of the sampling process. It's enormous, as you can see. There's a lot of data in here. The staff received this as 2 separate emails, probably 2 weeks ago now. One email is the actual report, the data report, and then the second email was all of the lab information. So this is now complete. It is part of the response to the variance application. We have everything else for responding to the variance application. The last thing, which I mentioned, we were here 2 weeks ago, is we're working with Orange County Department of Health and then also Rockland County Department of Health on the information that DEC has requested from them. We had a good productive meeting with staff from the Orange County Department of Health here, it was last week. If I recall, they asked for some additional StreamStat data that Tracy is preparing right now so that they can prepare their response. So we're continuing to coordinate with them. And our objective is to get sort of a draft response from them together to share with staff and everyone to review that meets the requirements of the DEC's notice of incomplete application. And then we figured we would start here with Orange County being the county of jurisdiction of the project. And then once we have that, our arms kind of around that, then we're going to be reaching out to the similar staff in Rockland County to work with them because we were asked to get responses from both counties. With that information and all of this lovely information, we'll have everything that we need to provide the information back to DEC for the variance. And again, our target is to try and get these things done in December. So that's where we are with that.
Okay, great.
And if you can't sleep tonight, I will send you this. You can read it.
Legislative Cheney.
So in summary, do the results look favorable?
The results bear out the hypothesis, right? So the hypothesis was, so we know that because the county has been monitoring the effluent and the influent to the treatment plant for some time for total dissolved solids and chlorides. So we know it's present, obviously, and that's why it ended up in this PD's permit. What we were our hypothesis was that the source of that is largely the hard water that we have in the area. So it's coming from drinking water supplies. While use in homes and businesses does add chloride, and it does, as we would expect, and it also adds total dissolved solids, because chloride is a component of total dissolved solids. What we were able to show was that in the immediate area, the groundwater is very, very hard. A good portion of that hardness is total dissolved solids. We're starting at an elevated level. As people and businesses use the water, more total dissolved solids and chlorides are added to the system. The drinking water treatment process itself adds total dissolved solids and chlorides, which we fully expect. We're using chlorine to disinfect the water, which is a good thing. The wastewater treatment process adds some of these because, again, to treat the water, to remove harmful bacteria and things that we don't want in the environment, we're using chemicals. The upgrade does eliminate some of that, which is part of the point of that. So the hypothesis we had is borne out in the data that we have here, which is good news. Exactly. And again, supports that.
The hard water samples or the source water samples before it enters into the system, some of those levels are near or over the level that we're obligated to
Right.
at the end. So we're starting off with a loser.
Right.
And so it's, even though if we start off at zero, we may be fine throughout the whole process. But we're starting out at such a high level
Right.
that it's really impossible for us to take care of them, which is part of the reason we asked for the variance going forward.
Exactly. The other thing the data shows, and I know, Rick, we talked about this last time we were together, you observed that at outfall 01, which is essentially right at the plant, versus outfall 02, which is a fair distance away from the plant downstream, the values in the stream are very different. And that's because, and if you're familiar with the Ramapo, here in our localized area, the Ramapo is a very small watershed with a very small water body with a very limited watershed. As you travel south, the watershed gets larger, inputs get more, there's more dilution going on, so that when you get to outfall 02, you're seeing the stream is compliant with the water quality standard, which is what we expected to see. So as we get further and further down, we head down towards Sloatsburg and get into Rockland, the contribution from this portion of the watershed becomes much less important because of that dilution factor and the fact that the stream is a much bigger stream with a larger watershed, which again was what we wanted to demonstrate in this
Do you
thing.
think that the state DEC would take that into consideration, that it does get cleaner as it gets down?
That is exactly what they wanted to, that's why they asked us for this type of sampling. So.
Great. Any other questions?
How far are the two outfalls from each other?
Anthony, the distance is about 2 miles.
2 miles.
Yeah, it's a good distance. And the characteristics of the Ramapo, when you get to that outfall 02, it's very different stream than what it is here. The further down you
Different in
go.
the sense that it's a much more significant stream.
There's much more volume. So that was actually what the Orange County Department of Health asked Tracy for, was what we call stream stats. So it's the 7Q10, I think I got that right, which is a measurement, 7Q10, right? It's the measurement of flow.
I think it's another letter.
I think it's a measurement of flow in the stream, taking into consideration the configuration of the stream, right? So one of the things that's interesting about the Ramapo, if you go onto Tuxedo, the Ramapo has straight sides and a flat bottom, because when they built the thruway, they moved it. So thruway is where the Ramapo was. So from like a stream health perspective, that's a very bad thing. But when they did that, the thruway, nobody was thinking about that. So it's channelized down there. So the water characteristics are very different. So depending on what your watershed is and what your stream looks like in terms of its depth, and materials that are present, is it rocks, what is it, will really change the flow of the stream in any given location. And the solution to pollution is dilution. So the more water there is, because we're looking at concentrations, the less impact there is of these concentrations because there's more water to absorb that. So that again was sort of part of the purpose of this.
Thank you. Any other questions? Kelly, could you let the record state that Anthony Griffin has joined us? Thank you. All right, the next update is regarding the sewer meters update and how we were doing with that. We're waiting to put it out onto,
It's back at General Services. We called, it's back Monday, I think.
excuse me,
I think Monday I went back to General Services.
oh, back to general.
This is the RFP, right?
Yes.
Or
Couple minor questions and they were answered and it's back.
Okay,
So should be out of bid.
And that's-
I don't think there'll be any more questions, but
yeah, so because the general services already sent it back. and
Yes.
Now it's going back, so hopefully they'll be able to move forward with that and, all right, and then if that comes back, and then how long do you think before we can start working on that? Is that something that you do in the spring then, or?
There's probably about an 8 to 12 week lead time for the equipment itself. Once it
Yeah.
actually goes out to bid, we award it.
Okay, so this will get better.
So did you push General Services to try and get a date for when they expect to bid it?
again,
Oh, yeah.
Please, yeah, just to keep things.
yeah, it only got back in our hands, I think, yes, today's Wednesday, probably yesterday.
Yeah.
We'll get that
Monday,
there.
yesterday. Yeah, I'm hopeful.
Okay, and thank you, Bob. And
Sure. Thank you, Anthony.
thank you, Anthony. Next item is, I have here 2023 capital plan. Bob, if you could just, kind of tell us, we talked a little earlier and,
Yeah, there's money in the plan. Right now, we don't know, we're going through the secret process and variance and all the other regulations. So until that's done, there's really nothing to spend money on.
so,
But it's there.
yeah, I wanted to just
There,
bring that point up, that it is there and that, we have our regulatory issues that we need to satisfy first. And, but, we're kind of, getting our ducks in a row, and that's just another duck to have money in the
Yeah,
capital.
that money is not covered, doesn't cover the most extreme alternative that might be laid out in the facility plan by any means. I mean, there'll be a time that we have to come back to get more money once we have those estimates in, once you fish.
Well, I think it's listed as longevity, so I mean, I know
Yeah.
that once we get down to now, longevity may be included in the new
Right.
plan, so.
Yeah, and then we also get to that point where Mary Beth has been telling us we can't really put in for grant
Yeah.
applications until we have some type of design done. We know what our project is.
and
So we
that's-
need to get to that point. Right, and then we can either, likely the construction won't be starting, the bidding wouldn't go out. Certainly when we start probably before 2024, so we'll have an opportunity, I would hope, in the spring and early summer when we're looking at our capital plan for 2024. to Make sure we're inclusive of whatever additional information we have at that point.
Okay,
Get our ideas.
great. Any questions, comments from the committee? No?
Seems like we're on track.
We're on track, and seeing that we're on track, our next meeting, I would like to do away with a meeting in December. It's a busy, busy month, and if we could meet again on January 18th, 2023 at 1:30 in this room, that would be great. And the only thing I have to say is have a great, happy Thanksgiving and a great holiday season. And hopefully we'll see each other outside of this room somewhere along the line between now and then. All right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
I didn't want to bore everybody during the meeting, but the solution, you made mention of the solution to pollution is dilution. And we have a landfill that we own that's been operating for a lot of years. If you go downstream a little bit, there's a landfill that's closed that has been operating for a lot of years. And shoot me if you want, but I did the design on that landfill downstream. And one of the things we looked at was water quality in the stream. And the water quality downstream of the Torrey landfill was better than the water quality anywhere upstream.
Oh, so you.
And so basically we didn't use it, but you know, it's kind of a funny anecdote to be able
Yeah.
to say that the Torrey landfill contributes to water quality cleanup in the Wallfield River.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem like it's right.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's just, you know, everything that goes on above it in the black dirt contributes to degrading of water quality. Even though there's a lot of inflow from both those landfills, gaining stream all the way along.
Thank you. I will, that's it. I'll shut down the